Hello, welcome, I'm Hannah, and today we're going to be finally talking about the Fantasy Cosmetica Druid palette. I say finally because I've been wanting this palette for months, and I started thinking about Black Friday over the summer at a time when there was like a lot of palettes on my wish list, and I was like, I think I'm just gonna be going palette crazy for Black Friday. And then this was the only one that I ended up still wanting and buying on Black Friday, and I'm so excited about it. This is what she looks like. The perfect grungy, earthy tones. I really am so excited about this color story. I'm not usually a small palette person, but all of the colors in here are ones that I'm excited about. I like the mixture of mattes and shimmers. I'm so excited to dig into this today. I want to start out just doing some basic swatches of these. I haven't touched any of them other than the shade Balance. I couldn't resist. I got this in like a day and a half ago in the mail, and I didn't have a chance to film until now. So when I did my makeup yesterday, I did use Balance all over my eye. I'll insert my little Instagram clip of it right here, but it was like a really pretty green wet effect. I'm not sure if you can tell in the video, but it did have like a bit of like a pink duochrome. It was so pretty. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. And I guess I will eye swatch the shimmers as well, and we'll build a look around it. So let's get into the swatches. Okay, I'm just gonna go rows across. So we're gonna start with Root. That feels nice. That feels soft. Root. That looks good. Balance. Forest. Airform. Serenity. Ooh, wow. Sage. Transformation. Regrowth. Old growth. It's probably like a video game reference that I don't get, but I love the sound of old growth. Like, I feel like we always talk about regrowth, and do we ever talk about like how you've already grown in the past? I like that. I think these swatches look beautiful. I will say the last two shadows, the shimmer and the matte, both felt a little bit more dry. And then this gold here felt a little bit harder packed. This intense, like full pigment green felt pretty similar to Balance, the one that I've already used. And they both kind of have that like cushiony Adept feel. I know Adept has reformulated more recently. I haven't tried them since their original Plain Jane palette, so that's what I'm basing my Adept ideas off of. But I love those Adept shadows, and these felt like a little bit less creamy than the Adept, but in the same kind of wheelhouse. Generally, I do like palettes that have a transition because I like going into palettes for an all-in-one, but I understand that my transition isn't everyone's transition, and in a 9-pan palette, it's not necessarily worth giving up that real estate for like a transition color for some skin tones. But I do feel like this is light enough that I probably could use that as a transition, or I can easily pull in another shadow. But those look really nice. Okay, I'm gonna do some quick eye swatches of the shimmers. Again, Balance is the one that I've already used, but we're going to eye swatch that first. I don't have anything on my eyelids. I love this shadow. This shadow made me so excited about the palette originally, and it's like better than I hoped for. I just love this like tone of green. I love the sheerness of it. I love the wet look of it. It has a duochrome. I'm excited also, I think, for my look today. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but I'm going to use this for my inner corner, and I hope that it's truly sheer enough that I can use it for my inner corner. But it's so pretty, and I feel like if I'm doing like a quick one shadow look like I often do, like I do like a transition and then just one shadow on my lid, I feel like this is going to be one that I dig into time and time again. I'm curious how bare form's gonna look because it looked really nice in the swatch, and I feel like in swatches I've seen, they all look really nice, but it does feel like more of a standard metallic formula. Okay, that has like a nice brightness to it, but it is more of a standard metallic. I feel like this is the kind of shadow that maybe I would use to kind of like build on a look more. I could imagine myself using this for like the inner and outer of a halo eye, or even for a lower lash line. I have been appreciating a more normal less sparkly metallic for my lower lash line because they tend to stay in place a little bit better. So yeah, I think it's a nice shadow, but it doesn't wow me in the same way that this one does, but that's okay. They don't all need to wow me in that way. Okay, I'm gonna eye swatch these two down here next because I think I'm going to leave on the swatch of this one for my look. Okay, transformation. This one feels really nice. Oh wow, that looks really, really, really nice. Oh wow. Wow, I love this. It does feel like the same kind of like squishy-ish formula, but it has so much pigment. That red base is insane. Wow. I love a good like green sparkle brownie burgundy base duochrome, and I have a bunch of them in my collection, but I've never seen one do that. Wow. I mean, I'm saying duochrome, but this looks like a multi-chrome to me. I did not know that was going to be so spectacular. Wow. I'm speechless. This is definitely going to be the center of my next look with this palette. If you follow me on Instagram, that will be coming up soon because I love this. That's so cool. That's way more than I expected. And like Christmas? I could wear that on my eyes on Christmas. That's Christmas in one shadow. But like a cool, like grungy Christmas, you know? Okay, regrowth is the next one because I need to regrow my sanity after seeing that one. Yeah, this one does feel more dry. I think you could tell on my finger too. It looks really pretty. It has a really pretty effect, but it did kind of feel a little bit more like dry crumbles coming up. Huh. Yeah, it kind of looks like a matte with sparkles in it. I've definitely seen looks on Instagram where the shadow looks really cool, and it is an interesting shadow, but it's not the same kind of shimmer formula that I expected. Maybe I would also like this on my lower lash line. Like maybe I would put this on the lower lash line of this look. That could be cool. I mean, or maybe I would tap a shimmer on top. Let's play around. Let me grab a shimmer out. I pulled out Terra Moon's Meteorite because I feel like this is the kind of thing I would see in my single shadow palette and be like, that will make my eyeshadow shinier. So I would just take a little bit of that and tap it in the center. Yeah, and that looks like a little bit more like a look that I would finish up with. It's an interesting shadow and I can imagine myself getting use out of it, but yeah, I don't really think of it as like a lid shimmer all on its own, but I am excited to use that. Or even like this, like I feel like I could just use it as a matte and like buff it around this. Let me try that too. I have regrowth on this kind of like flat shader brush, but I like this brush because it is a little bit fluffy and I can kind of like blend while I apply color. Yeah, that worked perfectly like that. I could definitely see myself using this as kind of like as a satin. Very interesting. But this shade blew my mind. Okay, I did put on eye primer just because this is the shadow that I'm going to be building my look around. Again, it's the shade Serenity. I feel like it's right smack dab in the middle of the palette for a reason. That looks so beautiful. I really like that. Oh my god, it looks like neon on my face. Like it's not a neon color, but it just like the way that it stands off of my skin is so pretty. I love that. This also feels like the squishy formula, but not quite as much as Balance did. But I think you can tell in the way that it just like smooths on so easily. It has that creaminess to it. That is so beautiful. It does remind me of my Menagerie Gecko, but this one's definitely creamier than that one is. I'll do a little comparison of that too. This is Serenity, and then this is Gecko. So they are quite similar. I guess Gecko is like a tad darker, but they do give a really similar effect. And the formulas do feel like really similar. Also, since I have it out, I'll give a little comparison to Luxie Reagan. This was from their Falloween collection, and I did wear this in a look that I don't think is up yet when this comes out. It's like my what I bought in September, and it should be coming out next week. But that Reagan is a little bit brighter in tone, but definitely less like sparkle within it than the top two. I do tend to use tan transitions most of the time. I've said before that like sometimes I will like my look if I don't use a nude for me transition, but it's a way higher probability that I'll like the look when I do. So that's why I tend to do that most of the time. But for the sake of this video, I do want to keep it all in the palette. So I'm going to try out using Sage in my crease above this. I also do tend to put on my transitions before I put on my crease color. But it is interesting, this like seems like it's going on very targeted, which says to me that it's like more of a hard pressed shadow, because a lighter pressed shadow would be like floofing out a little bit more. But I do like that it's like contained. Yeah, I also don't think it's like the most pigmented shadow, but I can definitely appreciate that. There's time and place for a shadow like this, and if it was super pigmented, I wouldn't be able to use it like this. I'm gonna also go in with Forest and deepen the outer part of this look. I'm just gonna use my same Sigma transition brush. This one looks very dark on my brush. Yeah, I kind of feel the same about this, even though it does feel very pigmented. It's super easy to control. And also, like, in my pan, absolutely no kick up on either of those. Yeah, I'm actually really impressed and happy with how easy to control that is. And in addition to the no kick up thing, no fallout whatsoever under my eyes. I am going to apply my base, and we'll come back for the inner corner and lower lash line. Okay. For my lower lash line, I'm gonna first go in to Sage and do the same kind of like lower lash line transition. That worked really well. And then I decided for my lower lash line, I want to go in with these two shades, and then we'll do this one on my inner corner. So we'll have used the top 6 shadows for this look. And I can already tell you, my next look that I'll post at least on my Instagram story, I'm gonna do this one all over my lid, this on my lower lash line, and then this on the outer V. So in my first 2 looks, even though they won't both be in this video, I'll have used all of the shadows. Yeah, I really do like this one for the lower lash line. I think it has enough of like a metallic finish that you can tell that it's a shimmer, but it doesn't have that like sparkly fall all over the place thing that some of my other shadows do when I put them on the lower lash line. Just gonna gently meet that green. Cute. I wouldn't necessarily go so green on the top and so bronze on the bottom if I wasn't trying to use more shadows for the look, but I really do like how it turned out. And let's top it off with Balance. Oh, beautiful. It's definitely a different kind of tone of green than the lid is, but I think they still do look nice together. Okay, cool. I'm gonna put the finishing touches on this look and we'll be back for some final thoughts. Okay, this is the finished look and I love it. I'm really excited about this. Let me quickly tell you what else I have on my face before I forget. I started with the Glossier Gen G lipstick in Fuzz. Did not like it. I don't know. I'll have to try it again, but I do tend to like balmy formula lips, but this one was just so lightly pigmented that it just like blurs my lip line in a way that I don't like. I don't know. Then I went in with an Urban Decay liner, then I went in with a KVD gloss, and then I ate a chocolate bar, and then I topped it with this Glam Light gloss in caramel. And I think that's most of what you see, and I like it. On my cheeks, I did the e.l.f. Active Lip and Cheek and the Merit Balm highlight in Cava. And my liner, I have Urban Decay Lucky. And now, let's talk about some thoughts on the palette. I really like this palette. I'm not surprised. This doesn't feel like something I took a gamble on and then had to try out to see if it's good or not. I wishlisted this for months and then ultimately bought it because I still wanted it just as badly as I did months before. So I knew that it was going to have some fantastic shimmers in it that hold up with my indie single shadow collection. I knew I was going to get along with the color story. I just love these like bronzes with greens with burgundies. That's like my ideal kind of like fall or grungy color story. What I didn't know that I'm pleasantly surprised by is how much I like the mattes. I've said before that I'll take fallout for pigmentation, and I mean, I do still kind of stand by that, but I feel like my thoughts have been updated a little bit because I feel like I have more options of pigmented mattes than I used to, and if I have to choose between a pigmented matte that has fallout and one that doesn't, I would much rather one that doesn't. Even like in the Terra Moons video that I posted earlier this week, I mentioned the shade Chestnut and I used it on my lower lash line, and I was like, I like this Terra Moon matte more than I like older Terra Moon mattes that I have, and I didn't realize until I was editing that there was like fallout under it. Not the biggest deal for me. Again, I'll take a little fallout on my face if I don't notice it. No big deal. I'll take a little fallout when I'm doing my eyeshadow that then I have to clean up. But if I had to choose between cleaning up fallout and not cleaning up fallout, I would rather not clean it up, you know? So for that reason, I could definitely see myself grabbing for this palette to use the mattes to supplement other looks. I could see this being the brown that I grab when I want to deepen up a shadow and have it be no big deal at all to integrate within a look. And that's something that I am surprised about. I figured this would be a palette that I would use all together sometimes, but mostly I would grab a shimmer out of. But I'm just surprised to say that I also think I'm going to use it to grab a matte out of. I do see a little marking in this brown one, which looks to me like it has the capacity to become hard panned. I know that there are things to do about that. I saw a Lauren May Beauty video where she used tape to remove hard pan from shadows, but I know that is something that can happen from like the oils in my finger. Someone asked me once about why I only like swatch half the pan, and there are a couple different reasons, but one of them is exactly that if my finger oils are reacting on that half, I still have a pristine half that I could dip a brush into, no problem. So that is something that I'm on the lookout for. I don't see that in any of the other shadows, but just in that brown root. But yeah, I'm really pleased with this. I'm really excited to do my next look with the shadows down here. I'm very curious about this regrowth shade. As I said, I'm going to use it next on my lower lash line, but it's possible that I'll have a new philosophy on it when I use it. It's possible I will end up liking the look of it all over my lid. That does happen occasionally, that a shadow that's not the most sparkly will have a cool effect that I'll enjoy. So we'll have to see about that. And yeah, overall, I'm really excited to see what else they come out with. I feel like the other two palettes they have aren't necessarily the color story for me. I just looked again, and the Bard palette, I feel like the mattes are kind of a similar story to this one. And then in the Sorcerer palette, I don't know if I'm excited enough about the shimmers to want that one. So I think I'm going to anxiously await what else they come out with next year. I have high hopes for this brand. I'm really excited about them. I mean, this is the first palette they ever came out with, and I think it's awesome. I'm so excited to have it in my hands. I'm so excited to continue using it, and I'm so excited with the look that I came up with today. I hope this was informative about this palette or entertaining. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. It really means a lot to me, and there's always way more indie makeup content on the way. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.